Today's a very exciting day. I got one of my favorite clients, Caden, we're working on. Do you guys, any idea what I'm working on? Caden, ring any bells? I'll give you a hint. I gotta tell you, it's very fun having costumes, unlimited costumes at the shop. This cape is symbolizing a new character that I've been working on. I put him in a couple of my pieces, him or her, I don't really know. But this is a reoccurring character in my work. It doesn't have a name. So we're gonna take a look at the piece. Maybe I can even have your guys help putting a name to this character. Let's take a look at the design. This guy at the top, this is the character I'm talking about. I first did a character like him, I think at Gods of Ink in Germany. I was working on this chest piece and I just really liked this like white face, a huge mouth, different variations, you know, but including all those features. As you can see, Danny looks almost identical to this. But let's talk about some key pieces. So I want it to look dark, it's dark art. So we're gonna focus a lot on the black, having heavy black. In the beginning, I used to be afraid to put too much black into pieces. But as long as we stay in that like 30% black range, I think we're all right. But if we have all that black, we gotta have the open skin. So making sure we leave enough openness to break up the black, especially in the face and in these little faces. Not too long ago, you guys saw me do like that kind of castle horror kingdom sleeve where I did a bunch of faces, devils in the details. Ping. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
And it was so much fun. I want to start doing that more. So this is like a different variation of all the little faces. We're going to use the same things we went over in that video, implementing the black and the main features to hold the structure. So I'll probably do all those faces the same and then brush big shades over the bottom ones to make this look rounded and interacting with each other. Then this cool texture on the eye. So we'll go over some different textures that I use, especially in dark art and horror. It's almost like this stained look, this like dirty brush effect. We have a lot of smooth tones in here, so to break it up with those like jagged textures, rough looking, I think really helps in the dark art realm. So we'll get this bad boy stenciled out, we'll get him put on, we'll get into the tattoo. Danny, one thing I asked them is to help me like name this character, because we keep seeing it come up in my dreams. I see it on the street. You know when someone like passes away and you just keep seeing them all the time?
Yes.
Yeah, you do?
I do.
That's bad. You should probably go to a doctor. What do you think? Any names, any idea for this character?
Malachi.
Okay. All right. So that's that's Danny's idea. I'd love to hear your guys' idea, but let's get into the tattoo. So we got an interesting spot here because it's like the inner thigh, but we do have a lot of the back thigh exposed, and I have a face. So I'm gonna have the face turned this way so it's not hiding from us inside the thigh. So let me kind of show you, but it is kind of a weird spot. I had to think about this, trying to figure out the best way to fit. I'm thinking like this so we can actually see the face from behind. The alternative would be like that, which is kind of like just hidden, where you just see most of the back side of the head. So I'm thinking we have like an empty spot. So I think I'm gonna do some more of these faces up in here. All right, I'll show you. I got an idea. And there you have it. We have a little smoky face in there. We got the main characters in. It's not ultra defined. We're just doing kind of like this to brush over those light spots, and it keeps it in the background, helps it fade out. So now these guys up here, I'm gonna do, you know, full spectrum, black, grayscale. And you'll see the difference with the high contrast in there to create that fade out look into the background. I love doing this. It really helps create depth in the sleeve, helps it from looking flat. It's a cool effect. It's easy to do. You just eliminate the highlights, eliminate the black, do everything in between, and you get those smoky looks. So let me get this in. I'm really doing it the same way. Just gonna implement the blacks, and I'm gonna leave some skin tone in there for highlights. And we'll get to kind of see it up next to each other. All right, so we're starting to get some of these faces in. You can see compared to this one down here, we get a nice fade out, all black in these ones, no black in this one, right? So we kind of got a comparison. I'm gonna get these guys finished up over here. I'm gonna reline the side of this hand. Not like line, but I'm just gonna kind of flick it in, clean it up a little bit now that we have the new tattoo on the side there. Make sure everything's interacting with each other nicely. And then I'm gonna be adding like big blacks to the top area here to start producing some of that darkness, that dark look. So I'm working on all of our kind of subjects now. And then I'll surround that with black. I will be using a mag for that. I do want it to be like a nice deep solid black. So I'm gonna get these 3 guys finished and then make our way up into it. All right, so we got these guys in. We're getting these boys here at the top in. And this helps frame the large face, get a lot of the background stuff in there. And then we're gonna get the background of the face in and move towards it. You can see it's starting to fill up. Nice darkness. It's kind of like what I'm looking for, especially when we fill this in. I just want everything to be pretty dark so that I can do our main face pretty light, and it'll stand out. It'll like really pop. It'll catch your eye first, and then once you start to like look around the piece, you'll realize all the little details in the background. So it's almost like we're hiding some details in the shadows, which I think is very cool. Getting these in, I'm really building up the values nice so there's not too much open skin. Might even come back over it with a mag. Making sure to get the dark background in, and this is gonna tie right into this healed piece on the side there. With the mag, even with the black, I'm not pressing too hard. I'm still staying on top of the skin where I can allow myself to kind of layer. You see, even when I wipe it away, it's not like a black. Now I'll come back in, and as it gets closer to the mask, go a little deeper, increase my depth, giving it a little bit more of a black effect. With the dark art style and horror pieces in general, I want those deep blacks. I want more blacks, more darkness. So I'll definitely end up using the mag more with those pieces. Trying to create, you know, shadows. Everything's in shadow. The solid blacks really help create separation in there. Black is like a great tool to create the separation in those tones. Because you could use negative space to create separation, but then it ends up making the piece look a little overall lighter, which is kind of what we're trying to avoid. All right, cool. So we're getting these wrinkles in now on the side of the face. I was just showing Cam some of it, you know, but each one of these lines kind of comes down and it's like a divot in the face. And then they roll, they're all rounded. So we gotta roll the side. The easiest way to do that is with the pick and flick. So I'm just kind of picking and flicking up. Now I'm moving in a horizontal, but I don't really think I want directional pattern in there, so I'll just cross hatch it. So if I go in the opposite way, Get that nice little shade in there, kind of as the top highlight. I'm gonna kind of increase the value over here. Same thing, I'm just moving a little faster. We're gonna constantly check our reference to see where we are. All this is like a gray, so not that I want to create any kind of fade or anything, I just don't want it to be skin tone. So now by doing that, I'm pushing that back into the face, kind of with the lip. The highlight on this one actually falls on the top, so I don't really have to roll out the other side. I can kind of leave that highlight a little higher, but I'll just do little circle patterns on top of the line. So I know I told you we start with the darkest one, so if we look over here on the reference, we have this weird shape and then this long shape. Which one would you start with? Yeah, right, because it's darker up here, right? So just because I'm comfortable, I'm going to come bottom up, meaning I'm going to go light to dark. So the way I do that is just like with the Bic pen, I'm going to be very gentle, and as I move towards the top, I'll push. So I'm going to pull the top, push on the bottom. So I just want to get the tone in. I don't want to create a fade. So I'm going to go very light, just until I start seeing that nice puddle come out. Making my way, starting to push a little harder. I'm running out of ink. Come back into the black. So I'll start here, light, medium, harder and slower. Cool. So I'll show you like what it looks like. We're not done, but you can see that fade like kind of being produced. So now we're just gonna kind of trim it up a little bit, a little darker here. You know, and you'd always rather go lighter than darker, right? Because you can always go darker. But once you go black, that's what they say, dude. Rumor has it. So we're getting that in there. So now, we will want that darker, I think. But I'm just gonna come and I'm gonna get that top piece in. And remember, we're just creating tone. There's like a little divot here. Let me get that in. We're just creating tone. We're not trying to get fancy or do anything yet. I just want this area to be gray. Now if we compare, is the weird shape darker or lighter than the triangle? Right, so then we can judge this triangle, and what I mean by triangle is this shape right here. So in the reference, that's darker, right? So we gotta make sure that weird shape stays lighter. So we'll go over. So now that I've made my weird shape too dark, right? Because it needs to be lighter than the long shape. So what am I gonna do? Go back in, right? I'm just gonna pull the whole thing. But it's this constant like balancing act. You know, like with the shades, I'm gonna pull it back down, pull it back up, just to get that top part darker, to have that fade, right? So now we're back. Everything looks in proportion. It looks good. So we have these two divot things next to the long boy, right? Well, what do we know about them? They're lighter than the long, but they're darker than this, right? Than the penis shaped thing, right? So now I'm going to just go over the whole thing, this whole section, including this little thing here, right? Because I want all the shades on the side to remain darker, but I do want the middle section to get lighter. So it's kind of like a safeguard to not mess up your value system. So now we've completed that, right? You could bump it up a little bit more. So now we have a nice texture in there. We have some separation created. If we wanted to make the divot more exaggerated, right? Those features are in the center thing. So I could come back and add some darkness here, You know, I could add it up here where it kind of caves off. And as we do that, it starts to accentuate things, right? Now, this one we're going to add a little bit more to it. I feel like leaving it so open is a little bit lazy. So I'm just going to pick and flick out here. And it's kind of hard to see, but I am moving in almost like an oval shape as opposed to just like that. Because that continuous motion does help keeping things smooth. So now if I'm looking at this like cheek section here, there's a lot of gray in there too. So I have my like little diamond shape thing there. So I'm just gonna gray this out. The gray starts in the bottom of the chin. So I am going to just continue this, circles, circles, all the way up, just to eliminate some of that negative space. Like makes it look more full. Because I want negative space like just on that chin, so it like stands out, right? So watch, if I continue even just this gray, and you can see how light of a gray that I'm using, like it's almost nothing. And I just start to shape around this highlight here. And I kind of start to go over everything. Look how much the chin pops now, you know? So we even see a lot of open skin here. So let me I want to darken this nose a little bit, finish this nose off. I like all the shades I've done, I just want it darker, so I'm just taking black and I'm going over the whole thing, trying to get like an even coat. So all those little features and details stay in there, they're just all darker. It's like almost when you're in the iPad and you just open the settings and you make the whole thing darker, you know? So now that helps separate it from the negative skin, and we can play with the negative skin. We're gonna go into a light gray, and I'm just gonna pull a fade up. This is like my favorite part of the piece, creating this like shape, you know what I mean? Like muzzle, whatever. So we're gonna start here where it's gonna be darkest, press a little harder, and as we move up, we're gonna move a little faster so that the dots are more separated, right? And look, it doesn't do much, but it just makes it look a little more detailed. And then I'm gonna bring it right into the corner of the nose. Because you know, this part like always tucks into the side of the nostril. Yeah, God folded your mouth skin into your nostril when he was making you. I'm gonna leave a little highlight on the lip. So really like what I'm doing is I'm able to now just use light gray to make these fun little highlights, you know? And it doesn't take away from the piece. It doesn't take away from the cool open skin. It adds to it if done right. And then I do want my light to be here. So I'm gonna get rid of that a little bit. Just darken it up. Same thing, same concept. Go in here. And I'm gonna leave that little lip liner highlight thing on it, but I'm going to do something different with this one. So I'm very light. So you see how I have the skin break? I'm going to bump up this fade a little bit because I want to tuck the like edge of the lip in there a little bit more. And instead of leaving it negative skin, I'm actually going to go over the whole thing now. So it still has the lip liner separation, but this side is just like toned down a little bit. So now that puts the light back here, right? And then I'm going to get rid of this highlight. Ooh, we're dancing. I'm just toning it down. Do you have a dimmer in your house? That's what I'm doing. Turn the dimmer on. Well, we made it to the end. Nothing crazy, just so many faces in the knee ditch. Got some faces up here. We kind of got them on the side a little bit. We got our main guy in the center that I think we're gonna name Dad. really been enjoying this kind of mashup of like the little mask faces, the children, and dad. We're gonna have to make a mom character for this dad. But we got him in, we got the basics. Next session we're gonna come here, have some faces outward. Looking great. Went over a bunch of the mouth textures, some of the fades down here into the more prominent faces. Great start, great filler spot. Let's get this all cleaned up. Get some pictures and videos to have a better look.